All right, so we are going to get started. My name is Andrew Houlihan. I work in the admission office at Walnut Hill. I've been at the school for a couple of years. I've been an advisor. I've been a dorm parent. Done a couple of different things here. But more importantly, I am here to introduce you to our theater department, our faculty, and two all-star students in the senior class. We're going to run for about an hour tonight, at the beginning of which our faculty will talk about the program, go over some of the classes that can be taken throughout the year, and then we'll do a little bit of Q&A conversation between the faculty and current students. Students will talk about their experiences in the department, and then we'll open it up to you. So you can, throughout this whole thing, you can always type into the chat any questions you have, but once we get about halfway through, we'll open it up to you, and you can unmute yourself and chat directly to us. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce the director of the theater department, Joe Cabral.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming this evening. And I'm sure you already checked us out quite a bit on our website, but I'll just kind of give you an overview of our schedule.
I need a cord.
And
It's gonna work.
So every student in the department takes an acting class, takes a musical theater class, a movement class, and a design and production class. So each of those classes meets for 2.5 to 3 hours twice a week. And a lot of kids are also taking an independent voice lesson with voice faculty. And sorry about that. Something keeps coming through here. And in combination with a pretty rigorous academic schedule as well. So pretty busy. It's a pretty busy schedule. We do 2 plays a year. We do 2 musicals. We do a children's theater musical, which performs for younger students. And we do a student-directed play series as well. What?
Can I interrupt you for just a second, Joe?
Sure.
There's a couple people who just trickled in. If you wouldn't mind muting yourself. And then, Joe, if you want to unmute yourself.
Here we go.
Perfect. All right, you're good to go.
Right. Okay. I think I was talking about our production season, so I'll just pick up there. We do two main stage, two plays each year, and 2 musicals, one in the fall, one in the spring. We do a student-directed play series, which is upperclassmen working with younger students in some student-directed projects that we do. And we also do a children's theater. So about six productions a year. And every student is required to audition for every show that we do, other than children's theater, where seniors are not allowed to audition for that. But you get a lot of audition experience because auditioning is required for everything that we do here. So our trajectory of classes is you take a freshman acting class. I'll have Hope and Dominic talk a little bit more about that, what those classes entail. And then a sophomore acting class, junior acting class, senior acting class, and then the musical theater classes, which are essentially acting the song classes. Also track through all 4 years, as well as a movement class that incorporates jazz, tap, and musical theater dance styles each year. We really believe that an actor has to be able to communicate an honest story through spoken word, through song, and also through movement. And so that's where our training is. We don't really specialize in any given area. We don't have a musical theater major. We don't have an acting major. We don't have a design and production major. So our students are taking classes in all of those areas and get pretty well rounded. And I'm gonna turn this over to Dominic and have him introduce himself, and then we'll have Hope introduce herself, and then Nicole.
Hey everybody, I'm Dominic. I am a senior theater major at Walnut Hill. I've been here for 4 years, so yeah. I'm from Chelmsford, Massachusetts, which is about an hour away, and yeah.
I'm Hope. I'm also a senior theater major. I use she, her pronouns. I'm from Wayland, Massachusetts, and I'm a day student, so I don't live on campus. And so I live about 25 minutes from campus. I've also been here for 4 years. Yeah.
Hi, everybody. My name is Nicole, and I teach musical theater at Walnut Hill.
Right. So, Hope, why don't you tell us about what a typical day at Walnut Hill is like for you? And maybe you can talk a little bit about what it was like for you coming in, because you were introduced to Walnut Hill through the summer program.
Yes, so I can start with that. So I didn't take, I guess there's not really a typical path of application because everybody finds out about things at different times, but I initially applied for just the summer musical theater intensive at Walnut Hill the summer before my freshman year. And I had not applied to the school at this point, and I was here. It's a 4-week program, but I was here for about 1 week, 2 weeks before I called my mom and I said, I've never been happier anywhere. Can I please apply here? So then 3 days, I think, after the summer program ended, I set up an interview and audition to come here. And then I heard back and I ended up getting in, but much later than this was in the rolling admissions portion of it. So I didn't hear back in like the March date because I hadn't auditioned at that point. But so I had come right from the summer program, and then a month later I started my freshman year at Walnut Hill. And as a senior, just as a theater major in general, your typical day looks like I have my academic classes in the morning and early afternoon. And we do most academic classes on a semester base as opposed to full year. So instead of having 6 classes full year all the time, I have 3 classes one semester and 3 the next semester, which is really great because I don't have to think about so many different academics on my plate because we balance arts and academics equally. So I have my academics in the morning. Currently, I'm taking, or I haven't started next semester, but I just finished taking calculus, Spanish, and senior seminar, which is a writing and English class. And then after that, in the afternoon, I have 2 of my arts classes. Some days I have 1 based on what days I have which classes, but I am either taking musical theater, acting, movement, and then you finish design and production in your first 2 years here, so I don't take that anymore, but I take playwriting, which is a class that seniors are taking this year. And then after classes end, some nights I have rehearsal. If so, I'm currently in the winter play, and so I'll stay for rehearsal from usually 7 to 10. Yep.
It's a long day. It's a long day for you.
It's a long day, but it's nice because I find that there are a lot of times where I have a couple hours where I can come home and I can eat lunch and then I can come back and stuff.
All right, Dominic, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, Hope really touched on every subject there, but yeah, I applied in when I was in 8th grade, which was in 2019. I came and auditioned in like October, just like on a whim because I heard about the school, and then I heard back in March, and then I came, and I didn't know anybody freshman year, and it was pretty crazy. I like this new art school, but yeah, I've been here for 4 years, like doing theater in the program, and currently I am directing in the student directed plays. So I hold rehearsal whenever I want because I'm the director, and yeah, and those plays are going up in about a month, and so I've been balancing that with applying to colleges, which has been a big part of my life. Applying to like acting programs and musical theater programs, and yeah.
And you're going through the college process as well, right, Hope?
Oh yes, I have 2 this weekend, which is exciting and a little bit nerve-wracking, but it's only nerve-wracking because I care about it, which is something that Joe said today, was that if you're nervous and anxious about an audition and something, it's because you care. And I think that that comes up a lot in theater in general, is that we get nervous about things we care about a lot. And I like that we have these open conversations in the theater department and how we help like to rationalize feelings because everybody is going through similar things.
I should also add that Hope is the theater department representative.
Yes, I am the theater department representative this year, which means I'm the liaison between students and faculty in terms of planning department events and being someone that people can come to talk to. And I communicate with families about the theater department. And I'm also the head of the mental health initiative club this year. So that's a big part of my life as well.
Do you want to talk a little bit about that, Hope?
Yeah, so clubs at Walnut Hill meet. Do all clubs meet on Friday? I'm not sure if that's just me, but I think I think all clubs usually meet on Friday this year.
There's
And
time set aside on Fridays for clubs.
yes, so at Walnut Hill, one thing that's cool is that most clubs you can join at any time and they're not very strict about you can only be in one club. You can go to all sorts of things, and there's lots of student-led organizations. And usually you can find that if you're interested in something, there's probably a club for it at Walnut Hill. And Walnut Hill's really great about starting your own club. It's a pretty easy process to communicate with teachers if you have something you're really passionate about and you want to start a group for an interest. People are really open to that. And so I have been co-head of Mental Health Initiative for 2 years now. And for me, it's a really great space to just talk to people about how we're feeling and to do different activities. And we plan fundraisers and we have snacks a lot. And it's just a nice place to let go energy in the week.
Thank you. And Nicole.
Hi, everybody. Joe, did you want me to talk a little bit about myself?
Yeah, talk about what you teach and what you do.
Sure. So I get to teach and musical theater 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I teach freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors. And just a little bit about me. So I'm from the North Shore of Massachusetts originally, so I was always familiar with Walnut Hill, and I sort of dreamed of going here. So now it's pretty cool that I get to teach here. I have my BFA in musical theater with a minor in dance from Point Park University in Pittsburgh. I lived in New York as a working actor and toured the country with New York's longest running off-Broadway children's show. And then I decided I wanted to focus on teaching and directing and choreographing full time. So I absolutely love being at Walnut Hill. It's such an honor for me. In musical theater class, as Joe said, we're really working on the art of storytelling through song. And the way that the program tracks is that Musical Theater 1 freshman year, it's really a combination of a couple different aspects. The first is musical theater history. So we're learning the musical theater canon, all the way back to the early 1900s, and learning chronologically. And so each unit, we're learning musical theater history, we're learning music theory, we're learning music rep from whatever unit, whatever sort of decades of time we're focusing on. And then we're learning choreography and staging for that music rep. So that's really the way that MT1 tracks. MT2, Musical Theater 2, sophomore year is when we start the acting, the song process. And during class, sophomores are introduced to the process with traditional golden age material. So everybody is assigned a song and a really specific process of how we analyze and break down a song from an actor's perspective. So each day of class, different people are getting up and working, and we go through coachings. And so with sophomores, we begin with 2 traditional musical theater pieces. So that's pre-1965 pieces, 1 ballad, 1 up tempo. And then spring semester, we do contemporary pieces. We move on contemporary musical theater being post 1965, 1970. And then when we get to junior year, that's when we do a little bit of pop rock and radio work based off Sherry Sanders' book, Rock the Audition, because pop rock and radio songs are more and more and more being asked for at auditions now. We also go into a college audition unit where we learn about different schools and programs and what they're like and what sort of things they might be asking for, if that's something you're starting to think about during junior year. We also go into musical theater scene study. And then senior year is when we're working on a lot of different cuts of audition cuts, 16-bar cuts, and really focusing on kind of refining the work and going through the college process, and then continuing to work on scene study as well. Freshman and sophomore year, we end the year with a showcase, a musical theater showcase, musical theater review, freshman sophomore review. So the freshmen and sophomores combine forces. We work together to put a whole bunch of ensemble numbers together. The sophomores will do about 3, the freshmen will do 3, and then we'll do a couple numbers together, a big opening and finale. There'll be dance numbers, there'll be all different styles, and then we perform that on our, big stage in our theater at the end of the school year. And then the sophomores, juniors, and seniors throughout the year, each semester, they usually have a final performance where it's sort of set up audition style, and they'll come in and they'll perform the pieces that they've been working that semester back to back. And so, again, Joe had mentioned something about lots of audition experience happening at Walnut Hill. We set that up within classes as well. So at the end of the semester, you have the opportunity to sort of come in and do sort of a one-on-one audition for your final performance to sort of get that experience under your belt. So that's musical theater. That's really how the classes track musical theater 1 through 4. And again, we're really focusing on analyzing the song, the text, the story, and it's really a combination of vocal work and acting work when we're up and working in class.
Great. Thank you, Nicole. Dominic and Hope, could you talk a little bit about the acting class trajectory from freshman year, when you did a lot of Spolin theater games, tried to keep you away from text for as long as possible all the freshman year. I think you didn't even go into text until the latter part of or first part of second semester with Brighton Beach Memoirs, if I remember that correctly. But could you just talk a little bit about your freshman year of acting and how you felt coming in, and did you I think you had to do a present demonstration at the beginning of the year as a freshman where you could do the material that you used when you auditioned for me. It could be the same monologue, it could be the same song. It wasn't an audition because if you're a freshman, you automatically go into freshman year, and if you're a sophomore, you automatically go into sophomore year and junior and senior and so forth. So it's not an audition situation where you're looking for placement, but you both had to do your demonstrations. And just talk a little bit about freshman acting, sophomore acting, junior act. Take us through. It can even be a dialogue with both of you.
Yeah.
What each of you remembers.
Sure, I guess we should start with demonstrations.
Yeah, we'll start. We came in and we did the demos on that's always the first couple days that you get to school. And freshman year was probably the most terrifying thing I ever did. I think I showed up late and I didn't bring my music or anything. and yeah, you had to get up there and do your monologue. And I think as the years go by, you realize it's not as high stakes as you think it is. It's just kind of a chance to share your work with your teachers. But yeah, that was pretty scary. But then we got to our acting class, and they really eased us into it. Like we all came in there, we were 14, having never looked at text besides The Little Mermaid in the 8th
We had
grade.
all basically done Seussical, but hadn't done any hardcore theater work yet. And so this was our first chance to do stuff together. And they recognize that, all the teachers know that. They know that people aren't coming in fully solidified actors. And so we came in, and the reason we didn't look at text until the second semester was that we spent the first semester more understanding ourselves and the space we were in, and learning how to explore the space and to be in control of everything in your body. And so we did a lot of work with space objects, so pretending things that aren't there, sort of a little bit like miming, but we had to learn how to work with what would the weight of something be, and if you're imagining a space, because a lot of the time when you're doing a monologue, you don't have things in front of you, so how do you get to picture a world and your atmosphere and everything around you? And so we did a lot of work with that.
Yeah, it was basically taking time to connect with everything you do in theater except for the text, and that's what we started with in the second half of freshman year. We did a scene studies from actually it was monologue studies. We were gonna do scene studies, and then COVID happened, and
I think we had 2 classes of beginning scene studies, and then we went online, so those morphed into monologue studies.
So we basically looked at them through the lens of Michael Shirtliff's 12 Guideposts. It's this book he wrote called what's it called?
Audition.
Audition, yes, for actors. And so we looked at it, we just looked at the first 3 guideposts from that and how we could apply that to the text of our monologues. And yeah, that's what we did over Zoom. And it was a really weird thing because like we were all basically working with text for the first time, and we were over Zoom. But personally, it was like probably one of the most helpful like ways I could have got into acting and working with text.
It was very rewarding and it was very helpful, but I'll say I was really glad that the first semester we had it all together in person. So once we had, it was kind of like being put to the ultimate test. It was like now that you've learned all these things about your space and as an actor, like can you really do it individually in your house? And so it was, I felt very prepared for it. I think freshman year is very important because it does a really good job of preparing you for being able to work with text and being able to do scenes and work with other people. Because once you sort of understand a lot about acting and the different aspects of it as an individual, it's easy to apply it to the text. And a lot of the time, you're not thinking about it when you're looking at text. You're not looking at it thinking, what do I need to be doing and what do I need to be thinking about here? How do I act it? You've learned a lot of the tools. I think Walnut Hill does a really good job of like packing your toolbox really full and then sending it off when you leave senior year. Yeah. And then one
Yeah.
more thing I'll say about demonstrations, just more concretely, saying what they are. At the beginning of every year, in the first couple days, you come in with a song and a monologue and go up individually and perform on the stage in our main theater. And you're just performing for the faculty, so they're sitting in the audience, it's just a few people, and you get up and you sing your song and you do your monologue. And like Dominic said, the first time I did it, it was scary because it was my first time performing on stage at Walnut Hill. Aside from when I did the summer program, so I felt like I had a little bit of it under my belt, but it was alone, so obviously it's a little nerve-wracking. But you get up there and you do it, and it's not a thing where you get feedback or you get any sort of criticism, so there's nothing really to be worried about. It's just you sing your song, you do your monologue, and you go. And like Dominic said, it doesn't place you in anything because you stay, there's no leveled classes at Walnut Hill in the theater department. You stay with your grade every year. So theater 1, 2, 3, and 4 are not like, okay, I'm going to do this demonstration and I'm going to try to be the best so I can get in theater 4. No, you're going to be in theater 1, 2, 3, 4 based on your grade.
Yeah. And then sophomore year, we that was still on Zoom for the first half up until like
Also Zoom.
February. Yeah. So that we started doing scenes over Zoom, which was a weird thing at first, definitely. But we looked at
We looked at Naomi Azuka's Anonymous.
yeah, and we
There's-
used the oh my god, Chekhov's technique, and which was psychological gesture, an imaginary body, yeah, and a bunch of other acting words that you guys will find out at some point. But yeah, we looked at that and we applied it to our scenes, similar to how we did freshman year, and yeah,
and it was learning how to use those and how to learn more tools. So the ones that Dominic were mentioning, we were learning about atmosphere, so creating a world around you, psychological gesture, which I'm not quite sure how to explain right now. But it was about communicating through other things than verbal when you're doing a scene. And then there were a few others. Imaginary body, which was about imagining yourself in the body of the other character that you're playing. And we learn a lot about finding the truth in your work and I think all of this work helps to set up like you don't need to imagine yourself as a certain character. You have to find like what you connect to in the characters. And I think that that's a really big thing at Walnut Hill and theater. And I think that that's helped me understand a lot more about acting.
Yeah, that semester, yeah, we looked at that play the whole first semester, and it was a lot of it was just learning how to connect with someone else on a stage, and like we learned how to do that even though we were on Zoom, which was a pretty special thing for the first half of sophomore year. And then we came back in person and we started doing clowning, which was probably one of my favorite subjects in acting I've done here.
It was so
Um,
interesting because it's so different from other things we usually do. Um, and I think it did a really good job of helping fundamentally like build up some basics in acting and just learning to play and let go. Because I think as actors and artists a lot of the time, we're perfectionists. I know that I fall into that category a lot of the time, and we want to make sure everything is done in a very like serious and perfect way, but clowning, which we did wear clown noses. There were no big shoes, there were no like cars and watering cans, but we did wear a clown nose the whole time. Was about learning to play and let go and create things and trust your instincts as an actor. And so while it sounds a little silly, it was very helpful.
yeah, it was great. It was just saying yes to everything, and learning to be okay with looking stupid in front of people, which probably like the biggest thing that I learned at Walnut Hill for
That
sure.
might be the best lesson I've learned at Walnut Hill is that acting a lot of the time is about looking stupid in front of other people and not caring.
Yeah, yeah, and that was a that's through sophomore year, and then junior year we came back again. And what did we start off with junior year?
Junior year, we had scenes.
Yeah,
We
we
had
did more
some
scene plays.
contemporary plays.
Yeah. Hmm.
And
And
so we learned at this point, we were looking at more of the guideposts. We learned more like so we had 1 through 3 initially, and then we learned through 12, the rest of them, and we touched on that for a while. And it was a more of a script analysis thing in the first half of the year, and we learned about specific um writing and speech tools, and then we applied them to scenes we were doing. And so you got a scene partner, and one thing about Walnut Hill and theater is that you're expected to do work outside of class as well. And so sometimes you have homework assigned and sometimes you're not asked to, but you know that coming into class you need to rehearse with your scene partner or come in with your monologue prepared. And so junior year taught me a lot about work ethic in terms of scheduling time to meet with my scene partner when nobody told me to do that. And that's something that's big, is making sure you make time for yourself in terms of working outside of class. But it was really fun. We did scenes, and there was such a wide variety of things, and they got specifically picked for the people who were in the classes, and so it was fun to get to try something on like that.
yeah,
Sophomore year we all did the same scene from the same play, and so it was cool to see my friends do different things from what I was doing
hmm
junior
yeah,
year.
yeah.
As
And
I'm
then
hearing you both speak, it sounds like an incredibly busy schedule with that you with the arts day going from 2 to 6 and the academic day going from 8 to 1:30. How were you able to manage your time and juggle everything that you needed to do? Because you're both good academic students. So you in many instances you were also in rehearsal in the evening as well as your arts classes in the afternoon. How were you able to manage your time and make it all the way to second semester senior year?
That's a great
yeah,
question, Joe. Sometimes I look back at it and I think that was a big thing to do, but I think the biggest lesson that I've learned is that in terms of academics and balancing my schedule and things, is that you need to block out time for yourself to get work done earlier in the day so you're not up in the middle of the night doing things, because ultimately you do need a lot of rest to have such a busy schedule. So finding those free times where you have to decide for yourself, am I going to sit on my bed and watch TikTok for an hour, or am I going to do my work so I can do that later? And so I think you have to learn a lot about scheduling for yourself and blocking out time to do the things you don't necessarily want to do, but you need to do.
yeah, yeah. I think that's one of the most important things that Walnut Hill taught me was like for the past 4 years, like I balance between like academics, arts, like my friends, and then sleeping. And it's like which on this day, which do I want to give more time to? And like you can't leave one out, or else like you're gonna crash and burn. So it's like how do you figure out how to have all four of those things in your life and give equal attention to all of them? And it's I don't know, I still don't like it's still something you got to figure out how to do. But
Yeah, and the
yeah,
same thing doesn't work for everyone, so you kind of have to
yeah,
figure out what works for you. And I
yeah,
think that Walnut Hill, you have a lot of independence, whether you're a boarding student, you're physically living independently, while you're in the dorm with other people, but living apart from your parents for the first time, or as any student in general, you have such a long schedule that you're on campus basically the whole day. And so I was on campus until I learned how to drive junior year. But I you learn a lot about finding time to do things. And like Dominic was saying, you have these four things that you need in your life for balance, but some days you have to sacrifice maybe hanging out with friends if you know you have a bigger academic assignment, or some days you have to like find what percent of yourself you can give to each of them. And then vice versa, some days on a weekend you might just say, I am physically exhausted, so I'm going to go hang out with my friends, and then I know I'm going to give my everything to all my work tomorrow. Yeah.
Yep.
Good answers. Yeah, thank you. Andrew, I don't know if you want to open it up, or if you have some questions yourself that you want to ask.
I'm just curious, if I were applying and I'm not the most confident dancer, you guys have talked a lot about musical theater and a lot about acting. Do you have dance class? Do you kind of need to be a good dancer when you come in? What does that look like?
I personally consider myself a pretty bad dancer when I first came into the school. I mean, I had like dance, like I did little step touches in the middle school musicals, but that was probably it. And I found like a pretty good amount of growth in my dancing over the past 4 years. We take 2 classes a week in dancing, and those classes are split up between tap, ballet, jazz, and we did modern freshman year. I don't know if they
You
still
did
do.
modern for a while
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's a lot of like strength building and building your flexibility and working on like a lot of different repertoire from like musicals and like older musicals, newer musicals, and the program has like I've had a lot of growth as a dancer, having come in like not really being much of a dancer.
Yeah, like every subject, I think in dance, people come in all different places. Some people have been doing dance since they were two, and that's like always been their thing. And then some people are just starting doing dance. And so the teachers recognize that, and they're very good at giving you individual care where you need it in terms of growth and extra time and things if people need help with one specific skill or anything. And like Dominic said, we cover different types of dance. So we have modern, ballet, tap, and jazz. And one thing I really like is that we learn about different styles of dance. It's different styles of musical theater dance within these. And so we'll do combos as seniors. We do a lot of switching different combos and doing mock audition settings. So we'll come in and learn a combo fairly quickly and pretend it's an audition setting, because while we have a lot of practice with physical auditioning, we like to get a little more practice in the dance setting and dance calls. Like I personally have a dance call audition at 9 a.m. tomorrow, and so I feel pretty prepared because we've been practicing this type of thing all year and for the past couple of years. And so I think if you told me 2 years ago, tomorrow you have to get up and go do a dance call where there will be an improv section, I might have cried. But I feel a little nervous, but definitely very prepared, because also like Dominic, I wasn't very confident with dance when I came in freshman year, but I felt like there's been a lot of growth because I've been exposed to so many different types of dance, and we've had such a good build of learning different skills. Yeah.
Yeah. Jessica asked about the same question regarding singing. So I can speak on that a little bit. Yeah, I mean, it's like it's really the same thing for dance. Like you can come, like people are coming in with all different levels of training as singers. And like I take voice lessons here, private voice lessons. I've been taking them for 4 years, and I found like a lot of growth as a singer as well. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah. Well, like people come in here and they're like 14 years old, so like nobody's really found like their voice as a singer, and so Walnut Hill gives you a lot of opportunities to grow in that regard too.
Yeah, everyone's in a transitional period with their voice, so there's lots of different experience levels, much like dance. And Dominic touched on this, but you can sign up as a Walnut Hill student, you can sign up for vocal lessons, which are outside of the theater department and are an extra cost, but you can sign up for voice lessons on campus.
Yeah, so don't worry. You'll be good.
Nicole, do you want to talk a little bit about an unconfident singer coming into the program, being the musical theater rep person?
Sure, sure, absolutely. So again, in musical theater class, we're really focusing on um, songs from the acting perspective. So again, to echo everything that Hope and Dominic have said, everyone's coming in at a different level in terms of where their voice is at. But the focus really isn't about the voice in that class. You know, it is part of it, and it's something we work on. And there's definitely we definitely see improvement, vocal improvement, you know, throughout the year. But we're really looking at things from song analysis, acting perspective, and telling the story. So that really is the focus there. And I think something that I just want to say too about, you know, feeling stronger in something or like a little more nervous or unconfident in something else. Something that I want to mention, and I think Dominic and Hope could probably touch on this as well. I think starting freshman year, I know we as faculty work really hard to make sure that it's a safe, supportive space for everybody to work in and to really work together as an ensemble. So, you know, Dominic and Hope have been studying together now and training for 4 years at Walnut Hill. And I'm sure, you know, you guys have seen the growth in each other and all of, you know, your peers. And so, you know, the idea is that we're all coming in and we recognize we all have different strengths and weaknesses. And everybody's there because they want to learn, and everybody's there because they want to grow. So I think it's really great. I think we really strive to make sure that the classroom is a supportive environment where we're embracing everybody's strengths and, you know, encouraging as much as we can.
Yeah, my voice has probably cracked an incredible amount of times in musical theater classes, but nobody laughed at me. So, and I got better. So there's hope.
Yeah, Walnut Hill does a really good job at creating a supportive classroom environment with people, and it's definitely a safe space to get up there and just try your best. And if your voice cracks, if you forget a line or anything, nobody's gonna point and laugh at you. Everybody's gonna sit there and cheer you on. And yeah, it's a great environment. And like you were saying, Nicole, about watching people for 4 years grow and stuff, I've seen so much growth and hard work and everything in my peers, especially the ones who I've been here with for 4 years. So in the fall musical, I did shed a couple tears seeing my peers singing on stage. It did make me cry a little bit, just seeing how much people that I care about a lot have grown.
There are a couple of questions in the chat.
Um, I can take the second one from Jessica there. So, um, we don't audition for specific roles. That's not really a thing. Sometimes you get a couple options of scenes or monologues and sides for different characters, but it's never really auditioning for a specific role. And what's different about this than like a normal casting situation is like we work with, so the teachers are the directors and are the people who are casting these. So we work with them every day for years, so they know you very well. And it's not like you're going in there to audition for one role and this is your only impression you've ever made on them. It's just that everybody auditions for every production. And so there's all these, Joe said there's 6 shows that you audition for each year, and you just go in and everybody has like an assigned song or monologue or something that you have to go in and sing. And yeah, that's it. You just everybody auditions for everything.
Um. Oh wow, there's a lot of questions. I'll take Evelyn's. That one's next. I guess Joe, you can speak on this one too if you want. Coming in as a junior, will I have missed a lot or be super far behind? Um, Joe, you want to talk about that one?
Sure. If you're coming in as a junior, that means you've auditioned for me already, and I have strong confidence that you're going to succeed and be able to hit the ground running as a junior. So I think, I think always getting into Walnut Hill is already a big hurdle all by itself. So if you're coming in as a junior, I have complete confidence and faith that you're going to be just fine. So I don't think you're going to be far behind. And the kids here are so supportive that the ones who have been here for a couple of years before you are going to help catch you up as well.
I can also speak a little bit to coming in as a junior. In a general Walnut Hill sense of it, it might seem late in the game to come in as an upperclassman student. And actually, the reason why Dominic and Hope keep talking about being four-year seniors is actually kind of a magical thing to be a four-year senior here. We're pretty top heavy as a school. So freshman and sophomore year, it's between 30 to 40 students over the whole school. Sophomore year, maybe 50. And then junior year, we go to like 90. So we take like 30 new students. So if you're applying as a junior or a senior, it's not unusual. You won't be a fish out of water. There's going to be a whole lot of new students with you your fall junior year. So yeah, and as a Joe, you want to talk a little bit about a PG or some 1 year senior?
1 year senior, I mean, that's such a huge decision to make, that you're going to leave the school that you've been at for 2-3 years and decide to come to a brand new school. So I think the maturity that it takes to be able to make that type of decision. And if you're admitted to Walnut Hill as a 1 year senior, that means that we've had a pretty thorough conversation as to why you would want to come here for your senior year and what your goals are and what your ambition is. So so again, I think if you're admitted into an upper level grade, it's because I have full confidence in your ability to succeed here. So I wouldn't worry about that. I see a chat question that if my goal was to be on Broadway one day as a dancer, singer, and actor, would this program be good for me? That's an interesting question, because we have alumni working in film and television, but most of our alumni are working in live theater on Broadway and in regional theaters. So we've had students that are perhaps like what Dominic said. He wasn't a very strong dancer when he came in, but I bet that he's a much stronger dancer now, where he can probably hold his own during a dance audition as well as a singing audition and an acting audition. I would say the same thing about Hope. So as I said, earlier, we're an actor-centric program. We're really teaching you to be able to storytell, whether it's through dialogue, spoken word, whether it's through song, or whether it's through movement, that you're finding authenticity and truth in your storytelling. And I think that's what, I know that's the feedback that we get from colleges and university conservatory programs, is that the Walnut Hill grad is extremely prepared for that next level of training. So are you going to leave Walnut Hill and go on to Broadway? That's not what we're really focused on. We're focused on helping you achieve that next level of training at university, conservatory, colleges, and then from there on, then into a professional career, if that's what you desire to do. I hope that answers that question.
The question, well, to go back to something really quickly, about coming in as a junior, well, I've missed a lot. We had 6 juniors come into our class last year for theater. So if you need proof, we had 6 people, and now we're a class of 19. So that's a large portion of our class. And we had 1 new senior, and everybody seems to have adjusted really well. Was it hard to change from a public school to Walnut Hill? I mean, for me, I like Walnut Hill infinitely better than public school. It was definitely very different just because it's a lot less people. And for me, my grade at my last school had about 250 kids. And that's around how many kids are at Walnut Hill in total. And for me, honestly, that's been really nice because I thrive more in an environment where there's a smaller student to teacher ratio, and feeling like classes can be more discussion based as opposed to being like a larger lecture situation. And yeah, I really think that Walnut Hill came into my life at exactly the right time as a freshman. And I was not very happy at public school. I If I hadn't gone to Walnut Hill, I would have been doing sports for the rest of high school, and that's not really what I'm into now at all. So, I really found a really good community here of friends and artists, and one of my favorite things that's a little different about Walnut Hill from public school is that everybody's here because they want to be here, and everybody's here because they're passionate about something and they know that this school is a good place for it. Whereas public school, you are required to show up, and some people really don't want to be there, but everybody at Walnut Hill is there because they want to be there.
Yeah, I can speak on that a little too because I came from public school before Walnut Hill. Yeah, the high school for my town probably has like 1,000, like 2,000. I don't know, a lot of people. So like Walnut Hill is very different, and like if you like football, like I'm sorry, but like if you like theater, like this is for you. Yeah, it's like it's gonna be a very different high school experience than a public high school. But I think the benefits of being at Walnut Hill definitely outweigh that. Like what Hope said, like being surrounded by people that are passionate about the same thing as you or about other art forms is a very inspiring thing, and I don't think that's easy to find in a public school. um yeah, the transition at first can definitely be a little weird, but just because it's different and it's a different environment. But at the end of the day, I think it can be a much better environment for people.
So theater is your sport.
Yes, theater is my sport.
Theater is my sport.
And dancing.
Yeah, I often compare the actor as athlete because I think there's a lot of similarities there. And there has to be a lot of discipline and hard work and sacrifice to get better. It's not that you're competing against anyone else. You're really just competing against yourself. And do you want to speak a little bit about, I think some kids worry about a competitive environment, and can you talk a little bit about what your feelings are around that?
Yeah, definitely. Um, Freshman year, that was definitely hard for me, was struggling with comparing myself to other people in terms of theater. And I think that I was stuck in a way that in a headspace that there was one way to do something right and there was one way to be good at theater. But what I've learned is that the value comes from finding who you are as an actor, and nobody can do that better than you. And I don't think it's a competitive environment because everybody is learning how to do the best version of themselves as an actor. And I can't do Dominic better than Dominic. Um, and he can't do Hope better than Hope. So that's a big lesson I've learned. And I think competitive is the wrong word. People get really passionate about their art and stuff, and people can get, as artists can get at all times, very like focused on their work and stuff. And so I think it's a very, at times it can be intense, and not necessarily in a bad way, but it feels like you're in an environment where you are motivated by people around you as opposed to competing with them.
Yeah, I think no matter where you go as an artist, there's always going to be like the noise of people around you and what they're doing. But I think you just like learning to tune that out and focus on what you're doing is probably going to get you further. And I think that's something that me and Hope have definitely learned being at Walnut Hill. Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you do any plays where it's not musical theater? Yes. So in the fall, there is a play. In the winter, there's a play, and there's the student directed series, which Dominic said he's directing, a student directed one act, which is really awesome. And then I am in the winter play right now. We're doing a comedy called Rumors by Neil Simon. You should come see it in March. And you should also go see student directeds.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've been in about half and half between plays and musicals as I've been here. And they there's like an alarm going off in my dorm. Sorry if you hear that, but it's not normal. Uh yeah, I've been about half plays, half musicals, and I think they've equally been beneficial to me as an actor here. Like it's like in class we're like all these different tools are thrown at us, and then in the night we get to go to rehearsal and we get to apply all the stuff we're learning to an actual show, and it's a very beneficial part of learning and growing as an actor. So yeah.
Joe, do you want to take the one about our students graded on theater?
Students, there it is. Okay. Yes. It's ABC grading, similar to what academics are here. And I'd say that most of our students fall in between that B and A range. And so anywhere in between the A and B range as well. It's something that you care about. So we don't feel like we have to spend a lot of time motivating you to do well and bring your best to your coursework or your rehearsals or whatever it is that you're doing. So for a student to get a C or below is I can't remember the last time something like that happened, actually. So I hope that answers that.
And that's not because the teachers are easy on grading, it's because people work really hard.
Yeah. I've never been too worried about my theater grades, because I know it's something that I'm putting a lot of work into. I have been worried about my calculus grade, but that's something that we don't have to talk about.
Yep. As am I, but I think that your theater grade, whatever you're getting, should not be a surprise to you. I think that you will know how you're doing pretty well. If you're coming in and you're working really hard and it's showing off and stuff, then you're going to get a good grade. And if you are not showing up to class and you're not putting in the work and it doesn't seem like you care about what you're doing, then you're probably not going to get a good grade.
Hope and Dominic, you kind of touched on this a little bit before in terms of auditions that you're going on right now for schools, but if anyone is I guess a parent, really parents who are looking at this school with their children, options after Walnut Hill. When you first started the process of looking at your life after Walnut Hill junior year, were you looking at colleges too? Were you looking at just theater schools? What did that look like?
Yeah, I'll start. Yeah, so halfway through junior year, you're assigned a college counselor, and they start looking at like your options for life after Walnut Hill. And for most people it's applying to like a four-year program. So for me, I decided that I didn't want to choose between acting and musical theater. I would let the colleges choose for me. So I'm applying to both acting and musical theater programs. Most theater majors here apply to like, I'd say like average 12 programs, right? Hope, I don't know if that's accurate. Yeah, 12.
I think there's definitely a range.
Yeah. It could range from like 6 to like 20 or like crazy numbers like that. But I'm applying.
There was someone last year who applied to like 30 something schools.
Yeah.
Some
like,
people are gonna apply to however many they want to.
Yeah. I'm applying to 16 because I'm doing a mix of both. So basically all of my senior year has just been focused on like getting the repertoire together that I want to present to these schools, and in working with that, and getting it as in best shape as possible to present it. And I have my first audition next week, so hopefully I'll be ready for that.
Yeah, like Dominic, I'm applying to a mix of acting and musical theater programs. I am also applying to a mix of the majority of my programs are a BFA program, a Bachelor of Fine Arts, which means it's almost all either theater or musical theater based. It's all in that major, which is a little different from Walnut Hill because it's pretty balanced 50-50 between arts and academics. But I'm looking at programs where it's majority arts, and then I would be able to, in some cases, minor in something academic. And I'm very passionate about writing and English, so I would likely do something like that. And so I'm doing that, and then I'm applying to a similar number of schools to Dominic. I had one audition early action, which means I don't have to commit there, but I did that back in November, and I'm glad to have had that under my belt. And one thing I was surprised by at this audition was how friendly all the teachers there were. And so I realized in this audition that it's important to know that they really want to see you succeed. And that's the case with almost every audition, is that they want you to be their answer. They want you to be the person they want in this program. And it set me off on a good foot of not feeling super nervous at all my auditions. But yeah, I have two this weekend. I am traveling, so I have one in Boston tomorrow, and then I'm traveling to New York on also tomorrow night. So yeah.
And it looks like a question for the audition song, do you have to sing a song from a play, or can you sing some other song? What do you recommend? I like that you sing a song from a published musical, and that you have some kind of familiarity with the song that you're choosing. In the context of the show or not in the context of the show, you can personalize it and take it out of the context of the show if you'd like. And 16 to 32 bars, which is essentially somewhere between, you can do a 45-second cut or a 90-second piece. It's completely up to you, but definitely something from a published professionally produced musical. Hope that answers that question. And another one is, what is life like on the weekends?
I can talk about that because I live here. What Hope gets to leave and go home because she's a day student and she has a car.
But I also get to go to campus. Day students are allowed there on the weekend.
yes, if they feel inclined to come to campus, they can do that. Most people are just trying to leave because we're here all week. But I mean, yeah, we're in Natick, so Natick Centers is pretty nice. There's some restaurants down there if you want to go there with your friends. We're near the Natick Mall. We're near Boston. You can take a train, you get there in like 30 minutes. So that's a big place people go to on the weekends. Yeah, I mean, everybody's trying to do something on the weekend because our like for theater majors, Saturday is our day off because that's the day we don't have rehearsals or classes or anything. So that's the day when people are really trying to get out of here, yeah.
And so lots of people like to leave and go into town and do things, but there's also events offered on campus all weekend. And so we get emails late in the week about all the events going on campus. So there'll be movie nights and there'll be crafts and things going on campus. And when the weather's nice, there's always things going on the hill. And a lot of people hang out there, which is fun. And recently this week, we got an email that a teacher is building an ice rink. And so we've seen that construction project going on campus. And so I'm excited because in the next couple weeks, we get to take out and borrow ice skates and go on the ice skating rink. And so, like Dom said, there's lots of things to do nearby, and there's always shuttles being offered to the mall or to Trader Joe's or different places locally. And then the train station is like a 5-minute walk from campus. But they also recognize that some people want to stay on campus, and so they work to have a lot of fun things going on the weekend as well.
Yeah, or you could just stay in your dorm and like chill. That's also an option. It's
Sleeping
a
is
good
also a
option.
great option.
Yeah.
And speaking on something that was touched on a little bit, when I came in as a freshman, one of my biggest worries was, since I'm a day student, am I not going to feel like I can hang out on campus, or am I going to feel separated from the boarders? And I don't think that's the case at all. I was definitely pleasantly surprised that if you're a day student, you get to be affiliated with a certain dorm, which means you get to use all of their facilities and stuff, and you can spend the night there every once in a while if you have a late rehearsal. You can go into their common room, which is like a living room space that every dorm has, and everybody gets an ID key card, and so your key card works to swipe into that dorm, and so you feel like you really belong in that community, in that dorm, like all the other people living there. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like day students spend so much time here anyways. It's like it's not that different than boarders.
Awesome. Are there any last questions that people want to pop in the chat, or be brave and unmute and say your question? Is there anything else any of the four of you want to add that you feel like hasn't been covered tonight? Nicole, anything you want to add?
I'm excited about seeing some of your faces, hopefully on campus in the near future, and I'm excited about seeing your work. And I think this is a pretty special place. As a faculty, we care a lot about our students. We're invested in your success. We're invested in mentoring you, and we take our role seriously about being an adult who's in your corner. So I think that whether you're an academic teacher or an arts teacher, I think this place is pretty special in that respect. So I hope to meet some of you in person. And you can always arrange with Andrew in the admissions office about coming in and taking a tour of the campus and actually meeting some of our students.
I will put my email in the chat in case you have any further questions for me and you want to reach out to me about anything. And if you come to campus and just want to say hello, please let me know. So I'm gonna put my email in the chat. I would love to talk to you guys more if you have any questions you want to ask outside of this meeting.
Yeah, I'll throw mine in there too.
That's awesome, guys. Thank you.
And I just want to echo what Joe said as well. As a faculty member, this is a very, very special place to work. And we all feel very invested in, the growth and the progress and success of our students. So it's really wonderful for me as a teacher to be working with all these students that are so excited to be there and to learn. So it's a really special place in that regard.
So I think we're going to wrap up at this point, but I want to first of all say thank you to the four of you for speaking about all of this and from your heart, which is awesome. And for everybody on here, all 19 of you who came tonight, or 7, I don't know how to do the math right now, but staying on late to hear about this department, hear about this program. As Joe said, our office, the admission office, is always running student-led tours around campus throughout the week. So please sign up for one, come and check it out. We are going back into the dark ages of 2020 on this Zoom, obviously, into virtual land. But the magic of Walnut Hill is really felt when you're on campus. So please come and meet some of our students, be in our dining hall, be in the theater department, see it and live it a little bit to really decide if this is a place you want to call your home in the fall. I'll also put my email in the chat so you can contact me with any questions you have. I know this is a big decision, whatever age you are, whatever grade you want to apply for. So I'm happy to talk through it too. But I hope everyone has an awesome rest of the night. It was great to see all your faces. And we will hopefully see you on campus soon. All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.